even more money than his replacement in Sam Darnold. So if you're Geno Smith, clearly you like this, you signed the deal, and this gives them structure and stability at the quarterback position moving forward.
Structure, stability, and what looks like a lot of faith in him. What do you think this means for the Raiders when it comes to the draft? They have the 9th overall pick. Most people have them taking running back Ashton Jeanty. However, there are some, including Brian Wilson, who have had them taking someone like Shedeur Sanders, who does have a close relationship with Tom Brady. What do you think the Raiders do at 9 with this new contract in place?
I think they address other areas on their team, Amanda, because Pete Carroll believes in Geno Smith. Remember, Geno Smith got an opportunity because of the belief in Pete Carroll, and he made Pete Carroll look like a genius. I think they believe they can recreate some of the same magic they had there in Seattle, which will provide the element to look elsewhere. You talked about Ashton Jeanty. Clearly, running back is a die need for their organization. Adding another pass catcher is a big-time need as well at the wide receiver position. So everything is available for the Vegas Raiders, in my opinion, in terms of not addressing the quarterback and looking elsewhere. So making this move today, they believe Geno Smith has something left in the tank, clearly to be a more than serviceable quarterback for their organization outside of this particular season. So I think they would address the offense or any other position on the team.
B-Mac, we appreciate it. It has already been interesting to see what Tom Brady and the front office has been doing there with this Raiders team, already looking very different than it did a year ago. Brian McFadden, thank you.
That just got released yesterday. Cam Ward remains the presumptive #1 pick to the Titans, who have not indicated a serious desire to move down in the draft. The Browns will probably go with Abdul Carter, who's considered the best defensive player in the draft, with the 2nd pick in Yates' mock. And Colorado, that pair follows. Yates projects Shedeur Sanders 3rd to the Giants, who also brought in Russell Wilson, but have yet to solidify their long-term quarterback plans. And he has Patriots taking the Swiss Army knife and Heisman winner Travis Hunter. Yates says Hunter can change dimensions of the offense alongside Stephon Diggs. And as I mentioned, the Titans with the #1 pick. We will hear from Teron Davenport in a few. However, having a little bit of technical difficulty. Let's start with the Browns. They're next on the clock behind the Titans. Let's bring in our Browns reporter, Daniel Oyefusi. And Daniel, barring a Trey Cleveland, will have his choice of either of the top QBs or top defensive players in at #2. Daniel, what are you hearing about what the Browns will do with that #2 pick?
Yeah, the Browns have spent extensive time evaluating the top of this year's quarterback class. They had a private workout with Cam Ward last week. They're sending a group out to Colorado to meet with Shedeur Sanders for his pro day. But in talking to members of the organization at league meetings this week, they were consistent that they are not going to force a quarterback pick at 2, and they're not married to taking a quarterback at 2. They've also spent time with top prospects such as Penn State's Abdul Carter. They're expected to meet with Travis Hunter while they're out in Colorado. And owner Jimmy Haslam went so far as to say, quote, "If the right person is there, we're going to take them. If not, we'll figure it out for a year or 2 until we get that right person. We need good players. There's good players in this draft, and we need to make sure we get the right guys for us."
Yeah, very interesting to hear Jimmy Haslam also say that they made the wrong decision with Deshaun Watson as well. Daniel, appreciate the time and the insight. Thank you.
All right, let's head east to New York, who owns the #3 pick, and bring in Giants reporter Jordan Renan. So, okay, Jordan, despite signing Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, New York has long been projected to take Shedeur Sanders. So what can you share about how they view the Colorado quarterback?
Yeah, it's actually very similar to what Daniel said there about the Browns. The Giants have done extensive work on Shedeur Sanders, right? They scouted him in multiple games this year. Brian Dable, the head coach, he went down to the Shrine game to speak and talk to Shedeur Sanders as well. But it's about opportunity cost. The Giants are not going to force a quarterback pick. They said the value has to match the pick here in this case. And then when you talk to people around the league, there is some concern of whether Shedeur Sanders' ceiling of what it is, considering he doesn't have that elite physical trait. I spoke to one executive whose team is in the quarterback hunt, and he told me, aside from Cam Ward, he doesn't feel comfortable with any of the other quarterbacks in the first round of this draft. Now, the Giants are still going throughout their process, their evaluation process. There'll be a large contingent in Colorado this week, including general manager Joe Schoen, so they'll get another look at Shedeur Sanders. They'll also get a look at Travis Hunter. That's a name that I think will be clearly in the mix for the Giants at pick #3 if they decide not to go with quarterback. If they don't go with quarterback in the first round, it doesn't mean they're out of the quarterback picture completely. Moving back into the back end of the first round is still in consideration. perhaps a day 2 pick. I heard the Giants have done a lot of work recently as well on quarterback Jackson Dart. They had a large contingent at his pro day recently, and they've done a lot of background work on players such as Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Jalen Milroe. So I think quarterback, even if the Giants don't think it's worth the value at pick number 3, it's still something to keep an eye on later in round 1 or on day 2.
Okay, so you mentioned if they don't go with the quarterback at pick number 3, do you have any other insight what they possibly might do if they decide not to go with quarterback?
Yeah, Travis Hunter, I think, is the name. Now, Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter are pretty much considered the top 2 non-quarterbacks in this draft. So Travis Hunter, I'm assuming Abdul Carter goes number 2 in this scenario to the Cleveland Browns. I think that's what Field Yates said. Then you're looking at number 3, the Giants sitting there and looking at if they don't think that the quarterback is worth it, Travis Hunter, a player that they said they're evaluating as both a cornerback and a wide receiver in this draft. There he has double value for them, 2 positions of need. I think that would make a lot of sense for the Giants. And look, they're going to the pro day tomorrow. Just so happens, guess who's there? Shedeur Sanders, who they get a chance to look at, and Travis Hunter. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1 right there.
Yeah, it makes plenty of sense. A busy few weeks ahead for New York. Jordan, thank you so much.
Up in Foxborough, the Patriots have the next pick at number 4, and who better to have than our Mike Reese? With the latest from New England, unlike the first 3 teams in the draft, the Patriots have their QB and Drake May. However, there are so many other needs that they have to address. What's New England's approach to that number 4 pick?
Coach Mike Vrabel said this week that they're open to anything, and that could include trading down from the number 4 pick. Here's a direct quote from Vrabel. I think we're willing to listen. But at the same time, Vrabel has made it clear the Patriots need to come out of this draft with what he called a premium player. A couple premium players they're taking a closer look at. And those needs that you mentioned, offensive tackle, Will Campbell of LSU. They had him here at the facility in Foxborough, Massachusetts for a pre-draft visit. And defensive tackle, Mason Graham of Michigan. They're scheduled to have him here to the facility for a pre-draft visit. Some of the themes around the Patriots under this new coaching staff led by Mike Vrabel, they want to add team speed, and defensively, they want a more aggressive, upfield attacking type of approach.
Yeah, it feels like a laundry list of needs that the Patriots have, especially to protect their quarterback. And
chào tất cả mọi người đã quay trở lại với kênh của mình. Ngày hôm nay mình sẽ tiếp tục hướng dẫn các bạn tô tư ẩm tượng. Hôm nay của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là màu đỏ. Các bạn hôm nay tượng của mình sẽ có tiêu đề là màu vàng. Bây giờ mình sẽ bắt đầu làm nhé. Mình có màu xanh đây, màu xanh lên nhé. bạn một vàng nha.